Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. A big warm welcome and hello to USA Global TV and Radio, where we celebrate every day. We provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is Coexistence and Sustainability with Pet Psychic Aminah. Our topic is the power of the rescue. People have been reaching out to me and asking how can they get involved with the show if they've got a question, if they want to reach out to Pet Psychic Aminah, what do they do? Here is her contact information right here. You can go to her website, bridgingworlds.us. You can also go to her Facebook page, which is Bridging Worlds, and also to her LinkedIn profile. Let's welcome her. Not only is she somebody who lives her life leading with her heart and providing value in so many different ways, she's also a speaker, she's a trainer, and she's someone you can call and contact when you have a question about your pets or even people who have passed on. She helps bridge the worlds together. Let's welcome Pet Psychic Aminah. Hello.
Hello. What a great intro.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you believe it's another Friday?
Oh, I can't, because, you know, it starts out and you go, oh, I got to get this. I got to do this. And then you go, it's Friday again. Yay.
It's Friday again.
That's wonderful.
I don't know. I love celebrating. I love seeing us get together. And I also think how much older we're getting every week.
The camera doesn't age. Oh, no, it's the other way around, right? I'm 20 all this time. No, I'm not going back to 20. No, thank you. I saw it, did it.
No, we don't want to go back there.
Well, you know, all of them.
If you could go back, what age would you go back to? What
age would I go back to? You know, that's hard. That's hard. There are so many pros and cons, you know, traveling with my parents. My dad was a teacher, so we drove around the United States a couple of times. My senior year in high school, we're going to leave that year out, but we finally got Alaska. I don't know about you. Alaska's not on the way to anywhere.
No, it's
You go up. You can go through California, you go through Oregon, you go through a lot of places where a lot of the states, when you go across the US, you hit something, everything. I remember as a little kid, we were at the gas station getting a candy and, go in the restroom and all that, because we pulled our own trailer. And somebody said, "Oh, you guys are traveling together?" And I said, "Yeah, where am I?" I must have asked 9 people, and they're like, "You don't know where you are?" I'm in that car. I have no idea how many miles we've been on in that car. So it
I
is
know
fun.
road
It
trips
is.
can be rewarding, and at the same time, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
wow, how do we stay in the car for all those days? But you've seen a lot of really cool things. So if I could go back, I'm 61, I think 50. I wouldn't want to
Mm,
go back before maybe 47, right? Come on, all right, 47. That's it. I'm not going to go back any further. But how about
yeah.
you?
I don't know. I might vote for the parents should drive me and provide food thing again because I'm too tired to do. I'm very fortunate I took my kids years ago to Harry Potter in England tour.
Wow.
AAA did it. And so if you ever want great tours, I haven't used anybody in years, but AAA and many other organizations, your credit card, for example, if you have a merchant credit card or any kind of credit card, sometimes they come with companies that are attached to, hey, do you
Mm.
like this? Do you like this? Not just shopping opportunities. But so I belong to AAA and they sent us a brochure and it was in the middle of all the Harry Potter movies. We hadn't seen them all yet. And I'm like, oh, cool. This will be cool. Because I hadn't been to England myself by myself. So the girls and I packed it up, got on a plane, and they took us to the castles where it was filmed. They took us to the Quidditch area where they played Quidditch. It was wonderful. And it was all, there were a couple uncles with their niece or nephews or both. And so we were a hodgepodge from all over the US. And everybody spoke English, thank goodness, because we're in an English state and country, and everybody was prepared to build in a lot of rest time for the kids because they had to be, I think, over 6 years of age, and most
Mhm.
of them were that 11 to 15. That was really where the Harry Potter thing was neat, and we got to see the Chamber of Secrets and all kinds of. It was neat because we were in the churches that they were filmed in.
That's very cool. That
Yeah.
really is. I only went to one Harry Potter exhibit. It was in Orlando, I think, and I worked for a meeting and event company. That was part of what we did, and so we took our clients there. And I remember we were on the broom, and the broom goes like zoom, zoom. It's flying all around. I didn't like that at all.
I don't know about a stick and
Yeah,
a flammable end. No, I'll sweep the floor next time.
yeah, exactly,
But
exactly.
if you get a chance to travel, I highly recommend it. It opens your eyes to what I know. I hope I bring to this show is, let me tell you something outside the box. The box doesn't exist.
Right.
There's no box.
That's so
And there are
true.
so many ways to come at a problem or an issue, and animals are the same way. I used to compete with my German Shepherd in agility and going over, what do they call it? The stakes that you go around and search and rescue. Well, one day I noticed he started to limp, and he had torn the pad of his
Oh,
paw, and so that means I got to stop him from doing just about everything to keep the bandage on, because I don't know you, they're worse than little kids. They're chewing on the bandage and all the things underneath it. It grew back just fine, and we didn't have enough to save, and the doctor didn't want to resew it because it's probably dead by then, the bottom of his feet that he ripped. But it took a long time. And boy, that a challenge. We want to go for a walk. Oh, let's go for a walk. And I'm thinking, you can't.
you
And I'm not
can.
carrying you. You are 60 pounds of pure love, but I'm not carrying you.
Oh, I love the memories. It's great. You and I were talking backstage before the show began that we were going to give people an overview of, I think, some heartfelt tips when it comes to bringing a new member or pets into your family. And then when you feel that you and the pet are not a good fit, leaving them in a field not really cool. But we're not here to judge anyone. Let's talk a little bit about what it means to have a rescue pet. I mentioned to you that in some places in the world there's storms and people are washed away and animals are washed away. They end up in a tree or something. That's one type of rescue, but there's other types of rescues. Let's have you describe to our audience what you think of when you think of a rescue.
A rescue, as you said, Dr. Jacalyn, is a wide berth. It can be an animal that's gotten lost from their family. It can be the family moved away and didn't take the dog with, or cat, or whatever the pets are. It can be that they were with a family and they ran away, abuse issues, or they felt neglected, and all of these reasons that why do we as people walk away from jobs and marriages and families? Sometimes we just need a break. Animals are no different. We're not going to have them have the same feelings or the same emotions, but they have the core need is to be somewhere safe with a good food source and a way to get away from the elements. So, the dogs, cats, goats, lizards, the wild animals like your lizards, your hares, it's a type of rabbit, donkeys, anything. You can even get the horses that are way out in the middle of nowhere, and that's where they've always been. But they know where the resources are. When it's a dry season, they know they got to dig down so far to attempt to get to the water table that's in the earth. And they also, what animals do far better than humanity, because all you have to do is go look out your door and look at the landscape or all our cars and the emissions they're setting off. It is a tragedy that we overconsume. We have 9 wrappers around a food product or some other product, and it gets thrown in the trash. Animals, on the other hand, only eat what helps them survive and thrive. So let's say you've got a bobcat, not a terribly big cat, but very, very strong, like all wild cats are. And he finds a family of little cat type things. Do you think he's going to eat all 5 of them, all 6 of them, whatever? No, he's going to take one and eat it. And he might come back for the next meal, but usually by then the parents have moved that babies on and moved parents on, and their dens and or the place they live is really hard for the predator to get into them, because it is about who's the healthiest. The healthy ones will have a better ratio of survival. But we've got to keep in mind that they were all there first. They need and deserve to have a great place to eat the grass and not worry about the pesticides and or burrow down. And if you haven't heard this, I'm going to talk about gopher, any of these burrowing types of animals. And Dr. Jacalyn, do you know why it's so terrific that they dig these giant holes and all our water runs down it? Why? What would be the pros of that?
It's safe from the sun. I don't know. No,
I love it. That was perfect. We couldn't have staged that. Everybody needs one thing in the world, and that's water. So when we have it raining, a lot of the holes you think of an animal that burrows their hole down into, you think they're drowned. No, they got little caverns all over to get up and out, as long as they don't have a complete, mud falling in, but they usually have a secondary exit down the way. So if a predator tries to get in, dig in, and can't, but gets his nose in there, the family's out of there. They're long gone. They're not waiting to see if the roof is going to last or not. But weather also is really taxing on all of these animals. But one of the most dangerous things is floods, because you almost don't hear it coming. Now, animals are far better than we are to hear just about everything. And they can scurry everybody out of there. Believe it or not, they have a 911 plan all together. I wish we copied our life more so by nature. And I mean nature as in trees, plants, and animals and bugs. They survive for a reason. There's a lot of research. I haven't read it in literally 25 years. But when Chernobyl went up and all of that toxic waste was dumped and all the fumes and all the people who've now had cancer and just the tragedy of that, that's what the animal kingdom tries to make sure they aren't a part of, and or they're not manufacturing gasoline. They could probably dig a hole for it, but they have no use for it. When you see an animal's behavior, what we have to do is first, don't jump to conclusions. There are certain animals, and I'd love to hear, Dr. Jacalyn, if you have a certain animal, either when you were a kid or now, that you would say, oh, no, I'm never walking by that. For me, if I came to your neck of the woods, I would still, even though I've held these animals, I was going to give it away and or whatever. Yours are going to be full grown and I just can't run that fast anymore. And that would be your alligators. They don't mess with nobody. They don't let anybody mess with them. And those teeth are there for many reasons. But animals have a plan. We need to give them space to allow it to happen because they do have a plan.
They do, absolutely. And you called out the alligators, and I could call out the snakes, and I could call out the iguanas. The iguanas don't even bother me that much anymore, but the snakes are just not sorry.
Yes. And I'm the kid that from the time I was 5, I'm running towards the people who got the snake in their hand. I was like, I want to touch it, I want to hold it. And I wasn't raised being told that they were slimy. I didn't know that was a thing until like my teen years. And somebody asked me, I was talking to a group of friends and something like that. And I was like, oh, and you've seen this snake? Oh my gosh, my mom knows this guy. And we were holding this snake and it was so cool. And this poor girl looked like she's going to hurl. And she's like, but how do you hold on to it? It's just slimy. I said, no, it's not. It feels like dry skin. It's not slimy. It's because they don't, and especially in the desert where I grew up, and you don't want to be in the desert with the snakes because most of them are have poison.
Hungry.
Yeah, they're there, that too. But almost all of them have the poison that to the bite. Yeah, so it's dangerous out there. You have to really watch where you're walking because, as you know, everybody who's supposed to be in that environment kind of looks like that environment. So all the snakes I'm dealing with are in the gray tone because I grew up in the desert. So that's not going to give me much of a chance of saying, oh, I saw you first. I get to go. And what I would like people to walk away from is the same thing I talk about when we talked honeybees a couple of weeks or months ago. If you are allergic or afraid or whatever, you don't like this species, that's okay. That is really, really okay. What I'm asking you to do is to respect both sides, yours and the animal side, to say, hey, my bad, I'm going to go left over there and walk around. And that's what should happen. We have some kind of discussion, and I'm talking body language, because I'm not asking everybody to be able to talk to all the birds and bees and everything. You can try. It's a lot of fun. They don't say much back. So if you give them that space, imagine you got that iguana. They are really fast, really, really fast. I've Jacalyn can give you a whole earful of how fast they are, but they want to be out of there. They don't want anything to do with us. That's what I want you to remember.
And we will, absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about when you have a pet, whatever kind of pet it is, and you have a change in your life. Maybe it's a change in your health. Maybe it's a change financially. It could be a lot of different things. Maybe you can't walk your pet anymore. Maybe you can't afford for someone else to walk your pet. And you've just made a decision. I'm sorry, but we have to part ways. And the pet is dependent upon you. You are the human with the ability to make the decisions. And you say to yourself, you rationalize, you know what? My dog can survive in the wild. I mean, there's wild dogs. My dog can go out there with the wild dogs. And you just go, hey, bye-bye. Is this a great idea?
No, it's horrible, because people take it to your example was really lovely and logical, but so many people, I don't know why they won't go to the shelters. Yes, they're full. I'm not advocating, but that is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful resource. Letting your pet of any kind to just fend for itself when it has never had to buy groceries, pay a bill, turn on the lights, shut the door, whatever way you want to look at this, it's unfair to that animal to say, okay, you can just make it on your own. Now, there's some that do better than others. I've met and worked with a lot of cat owners. Cats are independents. They can do their own thing. They don't care about everybody else. If it goes bad at home, they're going to walk. Now, some, of course, stay. Everybody and every animal has a different personality, a different ability to say, okay, I can put up with that, or can't put up with that. It's the same thing you do with a husband. Okay, is this divorce material? Yeah, probably not. Just tell him to stop making his stinky feet everywhere we go or something. And, we have to comb our hair to the left and not to the right. Again, anything can be negotiated if both parties, to the best of their ability, show up with true intentions of saying, you know what, I really appreciate you. I really want to meet you 50-50. And that is what I'd really recommend. With the animals, I'd like to see, here's the dream, that we as humanity stop, first of all, decimating their natural habitat for our golf courses and malls and whatever else. And they need a place to live. If we continue to decimate the population of natural animals, we are going to be up a creek without a paddle, as the slang goes. And what I mean by that is, if we are depending on the cattle to give us milk and meat, and they go out and graze all the grass, and then the farmer goes, oh, I got to put them in another pasture so they can eat the other side. And it doesn't exist because it's too dry. The animals are too much. You got wildlife coming in, eating the same things. Whatever the problem origin is, you're still out of food. And that's going to be the same situation for our people and humanity. If we don't learn to throw away less or more, and the way we package things don't continue going towards biodegradable, our whole planet is going to be basically a dump site, because none of that, there's so many things that don't biodegrade. And some of the places where you go to a dump site, you can see big trucks and everything moving, all the soil around, the dirt around, and they're mixing it, or they're just throwing it. When I was a kid, I saw them do it. They just threw, backed the truck up, opened the end, and threw it into a big old hole. I don't know why we all thought that everything biodegrades. It doesn't, especially now. We're doing plastic better than ever. We're doing our metals, our fans, you name it. We're doing it better. But we're also creating material that doesn't, see, clear bag, but it doesn't biodegrade. You can't put that in a recycle center. I do everything I can to recycle. And I pick up trash when I'm walking around, because that's me. And I also know that I'm hopefully saving another animal's life, because if it has the scent of food on it, you've probably, everybody's seen this. They'll lick the wrapper, they'll lick your hand. I even saw a dog with a girlfriend of mine. She put sunscreen on her leg, and that dog just went crazy. And we have no idea why. I was like, no, that's not healthy. You don't get to lick the lotion. But either the scent or something really bothered him enough to say, oh, I got to investigate that. But it's not safe to be looking at these kind of chemicals that are in these products.
You brought up something that I don't think we've ever talked about before, and that is sunscreen or sun protection for your dog. Is that?
It exists. It exists. So if my recommendation, and it's always start with your vet. That person should be your ally, just like our doctors or our nurses or somebody in the field. You go, okay, I have to go to the CEO. How well do I have to spell that sentence? You're like, you're going back and learning English, aren't you? Because it would matter. So it depends on the situation, who you're talking to. If I'm going to go talk to the police department, I just go and talk to them. That I have the white privilege. I have the comfort. I have many things. I've been in a lot of police stations as an interpreter and and helping people through the price they're in. Cats, dogs, same thing. They need to know, especially ones that have been in a cage. I'm going to use Jackson, our black kitty, and he looked like he rolled around in mayonnaise or something. His coat, he has really short black gray hair, and he just was mangy looking. He didn't have mange, but he was mangy looking. But he wasn't wanting to eat anymore, and it all changed when my daughter adopted him. He realized, and it took him time. I'm talking months, but he got pet. And he got left alone so he could decide how much petting. He got food on a regular basis. He got a house with lots of water bowls to go into. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful to see the transition. And now he's almost 9 years old and he's doing fabulous. But you have to give yourself space and then make sure the goal is met even a little bit. Again, I got family and friends always, why did you pick up that gum wrapper? I didn't pick up the gum. I just a wrapper. I said, because I can. And I can stuff it in my bag or my pants, and I'm in the pocket and wash my pants. But animals die from the way we live. Let me say this again. Animals all over the world are dying because the way we live. We don't care about our trash enough to keep putting it out. From what I understand also, even though we use our recycle bin religiously, that the recycle centers are having a hard time finding companies that will reuse when they put everything together. So we need to be the drummers here and champions, because without all the animals, we also won't survive. We have to have a symbiotic relationship. We have to. You have to respect. I do not like mosquitoes. They love me, and at least when I was younger and in the Florida Keys and over there, it's not happy time for me. But I wouldn't do anything but move them and say, please, you don't get to be in the house. You don't get to be here. And that's what I do with the spiders, which I did 2 days ago. I get a piece of paper and I get a little cup and I put the spider in there. He's like, where the heck am I going? And poof, he was outside again. So everybody meet yourself where you are, and then maybe see if you can stretch just a tiny bit more, just a tiny bit more. And the first place is to realize that without all these animals, we will starve to death. The trees will overgrow. We don't have anybody trimming them naturally, which is what the birds do, and the nesting. There's just everything is one piece. And I really want you to know that if you rescue your pet, or if you have to bring back because it didn't work, or you're dealing with wildlife, take a deep breath, figure out, what can I do to get out of this situation without me getting hurt or them getting hurt, and how can I understand this creature, animal better? There's 100 million videos and a ton of our shows. Luckily, you got a whole 100 episode plus of looking at all the things we've talked about. And I've tried to give as much free information and options, because you guys are the ones who are going to make the decision. I don't come to your house. Dr. Jacalyn's not coming to your house. And if you have friends that have animals and they behave and they are well cared for and they have great food, ask another pet parent. It's a great way to get some support, because all the ones that are doing it right are more than happy. I've never, ever in all these years, I've never met somebody not willing to talk about their pet. So please ask
That's right. Speak up, say something, find someone who can help you, especially
and
when
do
you're,
it and do
yes,
something.
do something. Take action. Be
Exactly.
proactive.
Exactly, because everybody, and this is what I see in Dr. Jacalyn. I'd love to hear from your vantage point in the part of the U.S. that you're in. I keep seeing people saying, "Oh, that's somebody else. Oh, that's somebody else." For example, and I'm just using my own life and my life choices. This is not a toot your horn, or if you don't do it like me, you're all go into garbage land. No, it's just an example. I pick up wrappers from the ground. I pick up the gum wrapper that's floating around and maybe lost out of somebody's pocket and they didn't even know where it went. I am the one who's going to pick up the cans or whatever. And of course, I wash my hands a lot. I wash my hands a lot. But when I'm walking by whatever piece should not be there, it eats me up if I just go home. Then what am I? I'm not doing anything better, because I don't know about you, Dr. Jacalyn, but I could swear, I had a piece of paper in my pocket and it had a note on it and I couldn't find it for my life. And in one instance, one of my neighbors found a note that had my name on it. And she's like, "Oh, this looked important. There's a phone number on it. Do you need it?" And I was like, "Where did you find it?" She said, "In my yard." So it blew out of my pocket or hand or whatever. I don't even remember anymore. And yet she luckily knew who I was and gave that back, because I didn't have that phone number anywhere else. So think about what you do, how you do it, and what's the chain reaction that might happen. For example, if all of us, I don't know, Dr. Johnson, you'll have to tell me. I don't know if by saying everybody in the 60s or 70s or 80, I don't know, but it would probably be around there. And that is the long shower, the bubble bath, and the long shower. If you're in the shower, 20, 30, 40, 50, some god awful amount of time, then you might want to reevaluate what you're doing, because all of that water and all the soap, if you're shaving or whatever, it all matters. And our septic system is not keeping up, at least not in the area I'm in. You hear about it all the time, where they're trying to come up with a new idea. And that's great. And making chemicals that are good for the environment to biodegrade all the things that we put down into that septic tank. So please think about everything we do affects somebody positively and negatively. So if you're educated, when you're educated, I hope that really gives you the chance to say, wait a minute, I might be able to do this differently. And I love it. I love finding new, exciting, different ways to do the same task. So I would love to hear from everybody. If you come up with something, share it. We'd love to see it.
Yeah, I love the fact that you brought out about the long showers and running that water. Sometimes people will start the water and
And
it's
walk
just
away.
running for no reason, actually. And
Well,
the
I
other
was
thing
told
is
that it
that,
was to warm up the water. Is that
right,
not? Okay.
there's so much information about cold showers and the benefit of cold plunging. Where
I
are
can't
you
do
on
it.
that?
I can't do that. So I have systemic nerve damage throughout my whole body. It's most prominently in my hands and my hips. So a cold, if I lived in the desert, you got it. I'm in the cold shower. Those were lovely. Those were lovely. But I don't live in the desert anymore, and it gets plenty warm here. Absolutely. But that really shocks my system. And I'm like, I am not asleep enough for that. So, that's why I said, find out what works for you. Might not work for everybody else, but it works for you. I know people that swear by the sponge bath. Great. You're still cleaning yourself. It's a small situation to clean up. If that's what your lifestyle needs, or your needs, medical and or not, go that way. I'd rather see us all do one thing great and or attempt to get to the great, and then not cop out. And then guess what? After 6 weeks, maybe 6 months, depending on what you're doing, you have a new habit. You have a new way to look at something and a new way to say, I hadn't thought about it that way. Because every gum wrapper we throw, or it gets ripped out of our hands and it goes down the street, for me, it breaks my heart because I've lost, I don't chew gum now. I haven't in years, but I watched it run and I ran after it. My mom said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to get the wrapper I dropped." And then she let me go because, first of all, there weren't a lot of cars at that moment driving where we were. And so I was able to get, but that drives me crazy because I know I'm contributing to a problem that truly is going to take all our lives. And I mean that environmentally.
One thing I've noticed, at least where I live, I see a lot of signs about illegal dumping. I mean, even on regular roads that people are driving, it's, there's signs everywhere that you'll be fined, you could go to jail. So I think people are more aware of it, but that doesn't mean that it's not ending up on our beaches or it's ending up in our lakes or in the oceans. And there was something here a couple weeks ago, I think it was called the Boca Bash or something. It was on the water, and some individuals were out and they were on their boats and they were just literally
Tossing it
throwing
over.
trash,
Yeah.
and they got arrested.
Well, good. But who rescues the manatee and who rescues the dolphin? If you've watched any TV lately, there was a huge recovery of a manatee. So manatee's big, bulky, water-loving thing. But like so many animals, they can't breathe without coming up for air. Dolphins need to, that's the blowhole in the top of their body. They must come up for air. And so many fish people who go fishing, they just leave the wire, they leave the line, toss it out. Oh, it broke. What do I do? Swim around the ocean? Yeah, I don't know. You maybe, but we've got to get better at doing this. We have to. The time is up. This is not 10 years ago. This is now. We are polluting our water sources. So when it runs off those hills, it should be nice and gone through the nature's filter, and that's not the case. It's bringing silt, which is a whole different type of soil, and on all the debris from the houses that blew over there. And as you said, you lost something. Good luck trying to get it back, depending where you are.
Very true. Very true. So this show is bringing awareness to people about various things. And something I'd like to just spend the rest of our show talking about is if you're interested in adopting a rescue pet, you do what? You go to a shelter? Do you call on the phone? Do you look online? Do they have pictures? How does it work?
Yes.
Okay.
You hit all the really great main sources of information. I would really, really encourage everybody, if you can, please go and get a shelter baby. They're sitting there waiting for love, waiting for time. It does not make, just because you might not know the breed, you can get a DNA test from your new vet when you get that. And I hope that you won't pigeon-point a type of dog. A lot of the big muscly dogs, I'm not going to use the breed name because I don't want to put out any misnomer. It might be a small dog that's really yappy and you don't want a small dog. Go in with what about the animal you would like to see. Now, if you're a first-time pet owner, I highly recommend you foster first. And what that is you bring an animal that isn't quite ready to be adopted, or is, the system is overflowing, because you can volunteer. I think you have to be over 18, but some of them maybe 14. And you can volunteer at any sanctuary that's in need. You can go help a farmer feed the cows. All of it is great information about who you are with your animals, with a animal. And people will show you and be glad to. I know all the ranchers I've ever met, all the pet people I've ever met are like, nope, she doesn't like to be held that way. He likes to be held this way. She likes to be held this way. He doesn't like to be held. Don't touch her ears because she's not really crazy about that. Just like people, They have pros and cons where they don't want you to do that. I have one cat that has goobies in her eye all the time. And, those little crusty things. So I'm constantly dabbing it out of her face. Now she holds still for me because I'm gentle, I hope. I'm really trying to be. I give a damp cloth, which she's not really crazy about. But it softens it and we can clear her eye up. Because as far as to the vet, she'll have this the rest of her life. And it could be because she was a stray as a kitten. There's that very critical ingredient. Young, get good food. Young, stay in a warm place. But when they're wild, that a lot of times mom and dad don't have enough food, much less a way to stay safe out of the rain and out of the wind or whatever. But don't get a pet on a revolving basis. Oh, I don't like this one. I don't like this one. Like every relationship, Dr. Jacalyn, like every relationship, and you're a pet owner at one point, every relationship, there is one thing that everybody needs. Can you guess, Dr. Jacalyn?
Commitment.
That's really important. I want everybody to coexist. Did you see how I did that?
I did.
Our name? But it truly is. Coexisting is the power word of this now generation and hopefully going forward. Because the hippie scene didn't work, smoke something, be happy, and all that great music. Oh my gosh, so much great music.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do though is you can participate and you can do things in steps and you can give an animal life. But if we don't learn to moderate our uses and what we're using, we're going to all be out with the cat looking for food and they'll catch it before you will. I don't know about you, but I'm terrible at catching grasshoppers. Not that I've tried, but they dump a lot really fast. So think about that these animals didn't ask to be born, but they have been. So let's love them. Excuse me.
And look at it as a long-term commitment. And
10 years, 11 years.
At least. You've got to at least.
And if you're getting a senior, I love you for that because you can handle 5 years and under. Just know what you're capable of and know that you've got plenty of us cheering you on with lots of free information to just say, reach out to somebody. Another pet owner, sure. But have you seen them in action with their pets? I don't condone corporal punishment. If the cat is up on the kitchen counter, there is a lot of screaming going on in our house. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me, really? Because you know better. And what I did when we adopted the last two and they didn't know to stay off the counter, it's like, oh, cool, let's go up there. I am not going to make dinner on that counter if I don't wash it all down because I don't know where the cats have been in a litter box. That's just gross. But Dr. Jackie, you know what I did? I took packing paper and I scrunched it all up because packing paper stays pretty stiff. And then I taped a little bit here and there, but the whole sheet. And when the cat jumped up out there, man, you should have seen her run. She's like, oh, no. I scared her enough without hurting her and our little boy. But they decided, oh, that top of that counter is dangerous because they didn't know when I'd put it out or put it away. But it appeared because I couldn't put glass bottles or water bottles. They just get dumped all over the place. The cat will just look while it drinks on the floor. Paper scared her. Got her to stop. And that was great.
Well, I love how creative you are. You always come up with the best ideas. We're actually at the end of our show, sadly. And as I told you, people want to reach out to you. They want to get readings. They want some information. What should they do? I'm going to give you one address, bridgingworlds.us. That's my website. Everything's there. Everything you want to listen, all the links to Dr. Jacalyn and I's show and anything else I've posted out somewhere else. Please, bridgingworlds.us. Fantastic. Thank you, my dear friend. We will be back next week for another fabulous episode. So until then, I want to wish everyone a beautiful Friday night or Saturday night, wherever you are in the world, and come see us again soon. All right.
Absolutely.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.